What it do, Kaizoku crew? It's your boy, Kaizoku Ice. We are here to recap one video I made about 2 months ago. I was talking about the Charizard of the One Piece trading card game, and I named a couple of cards. And we're here to take a look at one of those I mentioned, and it does seem like out of those 5 cards I talked about, this card is actually going to be the Charizard of the One Piece trading card game because it has already 3x'd in 2 months since I made this video. So that card is none other than the alternate art leader Luffy from Romance Dawn, and in particular, the pre-errata Luffy. I was absolutely stunned when one of my followers on Instagram sent me this listing that this card sold for $2,090. Only 2 months ago, this card, as y'all can see in my video, was selling for about, $600 to $700. And in 2 months, it already 3x, which is absolutely insane. And on eBay right now, you can't find one. You can't find a buy now price for like less than $1,000. Here we have one for $2,000. The rest of them are all errata versions, so nothing crazy. This errata here is selling for $999, which makes absolutely no sense. And yeah, you pretty much can't even find. Let me see, what is this one? Is this one pre-errata? No, this one says set up to, and 27 people are looking at it. So clearly, people are trying to find this pre-errata Luffy because I think people are starting to realize and understand my thesis, at least, that these cards, these pre-errata cards, are so valuable and so rare. And even though there's not a first edition stamp on these cards, these are, for all intents and purposes, the first edition of the One Piece trading card game. And we always compare to Pokemon. The first edition Charizard is always going to do really well. It's gone already for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why can't this card do the same? Now, I'm not projecting a similar price point of $100,000 to $200,000 for this Luffy, but I don't think it's impossible for this card to continue to grow, and we've already seen a 3x in 2 months. Who's to say whenever it's peak bull, whenever we're having the live action and the remake of the One Piece, where we're using modern animation and the barrier to entry of One Piece is a lot lower, and people start getting into it, watching the thousands of episodes and seriously seeing that Luffy is actually the greatest main character of all time. I mean, I think that just bodes well for everyone's collection, not even just the cards I'm talking about, but literally everything. I mean, it's kind of insane that just in a couple months, this card has gone up so much. As a reminder, this card is pretty limited. If you look at the population report on PSA, this card, there are only 466 of this card in a PSA 10. BGS 10, I'm not sure, and I'm sure there are black labels out there somewhere, but we can assume that this card has a population count of probably less than 600 to 700, and that obviously makes this card extremely rare. If you're comparing it to some of the other cards I mentioned in my video here, I think I mentioned the Nami, the Shanks, and the Trafalgar Law. If you look at the Nami, for example, as of right now, it's selling for about $800, $850, $775, $700. So let's call it $750 for this Nami, right? And this card, this Nami, was actually a card that I was honestly betting on more than the Luffy, but I mean, the data doesn't lie, and I think that the people are starting to realize that that Luffy card in particular, he is the main character. That art in itself is just absolutely beautiful. Let's just take a look at it one more time. Okay, let's see. This is the Japanese one, but like, this art is just so nice, right? I mean, low-key, so is this art. This art's low-key banger art, and y'all probably know why I think it's such a banger art. I mean, not much else needs to be said, but this card, the Nami, if you just look real quick, that Nami, the pre-errata version, has almost 1,300 in a PSA 10, so it's almost like 3x times the population of the Luffy. So I can see why this Nami is going for about 3 times less than that Luffy. Obviously, scarcity is something that a lot of collectors are drawn to. Rarity, being able to kind of flex that you have a card that not a lot of people have, is one of the main selling points of a trading card game, right? That's why that Charizard goes for so much. Anything from base set, fossil, and jungle and Pokemon goes for a lot. And I think that same philosophy is going to apply here in One Piece with Romance Dawn, Paramount War, maybe not so much Pillars of Strength. I'd probably say Awakening of the New Era with OP05 probably has that same potential because those sets were made in 2022 and 2023 in the first 2 years of the One Piece trading card game. I also mentioned the Shanks. That Shanks right now, I mean, you're able to buy it for about $1,150, $1,200, $1,200, and I think this card also has just a lot more potential to go up. At one point, this card was selling for about like 2 to 2.5k about a year and a half ago, so this is another card that I would think would do well. And I'm honestly surprised that the Luffy is going even more than this Shanks, but that just plays back into the theory of scarcity, right? If you look at the PSA population report, let's just look for the Shanks manga rare. There's 996. That's 2 times more than the Luffy. Just shows that scarcity really is one of the main driving factors of pricing. So I think I also mentioned that Zoro 550. I think there's one for 600 here, maybe somewhere. Yep, almost 700 here, and with shipping, that makes it, yeah, that's a lot of money. So I like this Zoro card too, but also at the same time, it's not a pre-order version, so there's potential for this card to continue to go up more. And the Law, I mean, similar concept to the Luffy, but I've talked about all those cards, but I want to focus mainly on the Luffy because it is clear as day that this card is starting to separate itself from some of the other cards in the overall trading card game, not even Romance Dawn. If you're looking at the PSA 10 price of this Luffy here, I mean, let's talk about some of the other like manga rares, for example, right? There's no other manga rare besides Gear 5 Luffy that is going for a PSA 10 for $2,000, right? I think the Oda signed Luffy from OPU5 is going for about the same price, which is honestly insane when you really think about it, because this card, I mean, it's just a leader, right? And leaders come a dime a dozen. In a case you're expected, I don't even know how many leaders, like 4 to 6 leaders. I mean, you could say it's a pretty common card, but once again, if you listen to my other video about how there's going to be a supply shock for these pre-errata cards, and clearly some of y'all did watch that video because I've been seeing a lot of buyouts on eBay of these pre-errata cards. If you just look at TCG Player once again, and we look at the Romance Dawn blue bottom boxes, no one is ever going to open up these boxes. Look, it is now $1,700 for a blue bottom box. It just keeps going up. I think when I made my video only last week, these boxes were going for about like 13 to 14. Now they're going for 1,700. And I think that actually this proves my thesis even more. Nobody's going to open up these boxes, and if no one's opening these boxes, then all of the pre-errata cards, there's just going to be no more in circulation, or there's going to be no more additions to this population report, and because nobody's going to have any, right? Maybe people that had them in their binders, they might see it and be like, oh, I need to grade this card right now, but if you're not ripping these boxes, these are just going to become more scarce, and scarcity equals pricing increase, as we guys seen with this Luffy. In only 2 months, we got a 3x. So I'm honestly, I mean, not to toot my own horn, it does feel good knowing that my thesis around these cards is correct. I mean, to me, hindsight is 2020. It just made perfect sense that this card would go up, and I still believe that this card honestly still has more room to grow. Not just this card, honestly, all of the pre-errata. The Nami, I think the Nami can continue to go up even though the population count is already pretty high. If you're looking at the Captain Kid, there is 231 of that card in a pre-errata version. I mentioned that as one of the main bottlenecks for a master set. And don't even get me started on all of the master sets, right? I actually spoke with a lot of subscribers and followers on Instagram. They had this same belief in me, or same belief in my theory about pre-errata and pre-errata master sets. And they're also like, yeah, I mean, this is going to the moon. And it seems like a lot of people are of that same mindset that, you know, we're trying to find the thing before other people can find that like special thing that goes up 2, 5, 10, 20x, right? And honestly, I like to say I think we've potentially found it in these pre-errata cards and in the Luffy. And it's so funny because the trading card game is still being absolutely dominated by by players and not collectors. I would say that there's still only a handful of collectors. I'd honestly say that most of the people that subscribe to me, like the 1,700 of you guys here, you know, y'all are mainly collectors and trying to find those cards that, you know, you should get and not spend all your money ripping boxes and buying all these cards. We're trying to find that sweet spot of, I would say, collecting and investing, and also being just a true fan of One Piece, because, you know, we're not here to, you know, just manipulate the market or anything and go crazy and, like, you know, make $1 million off of this. We're just here to, like, literally because we love One Piece and we love anime and we love Japan. Like, that's how I'm coming at this, right? So when you really think about it, there's still not a lot of people that are coming at it from the collector standpoint. And once people do, and once people actually just wake up and they see that, oh man, like these cards are actually rare, like maybe in the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, the population count for that Luffy will actually only go to like what, less than 1,000 potentially, I don't know. And we see this $2,000 price right here. In 2 months it did a 3x. In another 2 months, can it do more? Once a live action comes out, can it do more? It's going to be interesting to see. And I think that's just like, it's really exciting. I've made a lot of videos about the pre-errata topic in general, but I almost, at this point, I kind of want to like shove it down y'all's throat, pause, because it really just seems like a no-brainer to me. I mean, if we could go back 25 years and buy all of the base set Pokemon boxes that were first edition, everyone would do it, right? It's literally a no-brainer. And I think that 5 to 10 to 20 years from now, I think we're going to have that same kind of conclusion here that, oh wow, there's a clear-cut winner here in the One Piece trading card game, and it's this Romance Dawn Blue Bottoms, it's these pre-errata cards, and that's going to do really well over time. So that's all I had for this video. I hope y'all enjoyed. No giveaway next week probably. I still have to draw the next one, but anyways, let me know what you guys think about everything that I talked about. Do y'all think that this is just a flash in the pan? I mean, $2,000 is pretty high. Maybe this was just like a random person buying, but I think that it's kind of evident if we see here that people are like clearly, I mean, this listing is going for 2,000. This errata card right here, I mean, 5 have viewed it in the last 24 hours. Will the errata Luffy end up going up also? Potentially, because nobody's opening up the blue bottom boxes, but also nobody's opening up the white bottom boxes too. So there's potential that this card is also not going to be graded and have a increase in the population count in the future. So maybe this errata Luffy in general is also going to go up also. I don't know, but let me know what y'all think. Do you think pre-errata is one of the better plays? I think it is, but maybe disagree. Maybe you think it's better to get mangas or SPs or, I don't know, anything else. So let me know down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for the support. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers, so don't forget to subscribe, and we can get there, and we can grow the Kaizoku crew even larger than it already is. So I'm Kaizoku Ice. I love y'all from the bottom of my heart, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.